Hello everyone, Clint here. Hope everybody is doing well today. Today I want to talk about my Z Fold 3 and some note-taking. Part of my note-taking series on the Z Fold 3. Today we're going to talk about a note-taking app specifically, and that is Microsoft OneNote. I would think that most people have heard about Microsoft OneNote in one way or another. I personally have used OneNote for the last probably 15 years. I've used it for a long time. It definitely has its purposes, and one of the great things about OneNote is its platform independency. It uses on Windows, you can use it on a Mac, you can use it on an iPhone, you can use it on an Android device. It has lots of different clients that you can use it, so you can really use it and be able to and know that you're going to be future-proof on that particular app, because it's going to work on pretty much any device that you want to use it on. And of course, we want to definitely be talking about using it with the S Pen. The Z Fold 3 comes with the ability to use an S Pen. Of course, you have to buy the Z Fold version of the S Pen separately, unfortunately, and but it does provide a level of usefulness that we didn't have on the last one. So we can definitely use the Z Fold 3 now for a lot of different things because of this S Pen. So let's dive in and get started. Let's go over to OneNote. And now OneNote is set up in 3 different categories, basically, where you have your notebooks here on one side. You have your sections, like inside of a good old-fashioned notebook, and then you have your actual notes itself. The very unique OneNote is it doesn't have like a notebook feel per se, because you can't like switch pages and you can't scroll through pages, you can't do that kind of stuff. But what you can do is pretty impressive. It's definitely very unique. So right now we have this logged in, so you have to be logged in to use OneNote, so you have to have a Microsoft account, but that's what allows it to sync to all those different devices. So I've had one forever. And another really unique thing here is OneNote allows you to only sync what you want to each device. And so when you have this More Notebooks button here, when you click that, it'll actually show every notebook that you have in your OneNote account. And of course, a lot of the OneNote stuff I don't need it on my Android tablet. I need that on my computer, where I use a lot of the notebooks specifically on my computer. These ones are the ones I would want to access when I'm out and about, and to take notes specifically on certain things. So I only put it in certain notebooks that aren't really necessary. I only put certain notebooks on my my Z Fold 3, the ones that I'm actually going to use on a daily basis, or close to that. The way this kind of works here is real simply. We're going to start with add a notebook. Then you give it a name. We're going to call this one test. And remember, you can type to text with your S Pen right on there, so you don't have to switch to the keyboard, which I like a lot. Because I like to keep it, oh, look at there. Let's try that one more time. Test. Okay, so yeah, then we create that, and then we got a new section here, and then you get one page called Untitled Page, and then as you can see, your notebook is now over here, that we're going to call Test. If you want to change the name of this, you just press and hold and select it, and then this right here changes the name, and then you can do your thing with it. Test section, and name it whatever you want. Rename. Let's kill that button. All right, so now we renamed that. And if you wanted to add another section, you just click the new section button down at the bottom, and you would call it something different or the same. Actually, there's no reason why you can't. And if you notice, it gives you a different color. And then here on the pages, you can click here to hit a new page. Same thing, it's going to give you a blank page. It's in type mode. And if you noticed, it went full screen on us. And then it changes, it creates you a new page, and then calls it Untitled Page. And then you come over to here. If you want to actually put a title, you could go ahead and just type in here, test note. And now you'll notice, oops. Now you notice your note is now called test note. And it gives you a full screen look right here too when you get ready to do your note here. So let's go down to here and let's start how this particular thing works. Okay, yeah, so here you have on your note specifically, you can just kind of tap anywhere. This is when anywhere you want to type anything, you can type. And then you can select, and then here if you go to your home tab, you now have different things. You could change the color of that text if you want to. You can highlight that text. You can add some bullets. You can add some numbers. You can make it left justified. You can make it right justified. And then you can center it within a text box if you want, or move it over. And now you can see that you have like a box, right? So like you have like once that's highlighted, you'll have like a box here. And then you can just grab that and move that around to wherever you want. It's another unique feature, I think, of OneNote that's pretty cool. And then you can go and then you can start doing something else. So that's the home tab there, and that's all. The home tab is all for type text. So all that stuff is for type text. Now if you go to insert and you come down here, and let's say we're going to do a different one over here. You can insert a photograph. You can insert a recording. So if you just allow this, I usually don't use this very often, but yeah, it'll do recordings, I think up to 3 minutes per. I can't remember on this particular device, but you can do quick recordings, and then you get this little recording icon, and it's going to be exactly right where you left it. So if you want to move it somewhere off to the side, you can. Then you have, let's get back in the middle here. Then you have attachments, so you can attach anything from a file specifically here. And then let's go back. And then you have checkboxes. So these are just legitimately just text boxes that you can put on here. And then if once you put one on, then every time you type, it'll add them. These aren't like something that they're searchable or anything, but you can click them when you finish them. So that's pretty good for project management. And then again, you can just select that box and you can move these all over the place if you need to. So you don't like the way that's where that's at. Let's move it over here. It's another cool thing about OneNote. You can move any of those kind of things specifically on there. And then here, then of course you have a link. If you wanted to add a link, it'll add a link right in there. The one we would definitely want to talk about now is draw. And if you notice, as soon as I put my pen up there, it went to the draw mode. And once it's in the draw mode, you cannot do anything else with text. So you're not going to be able to do anything kind of type text. If you need to get back into type text mode, you just hit the stop inking button right there. And now we're back into type mode. So that's good. Bring the pen back up and it's going to turn it back on. And here then we can write, and we can write anywhere we want to, including on the folds little funky crease there. But yeah, so let's go through what you have in the inking. You have different pen colors and sizes, so you can make any one of these a specific size or color. And it's basically just one pen type. So you get one pen type, which is kind of like a ballpoint, I guess. Like if you use like a note shelf or something, it's the ballpoint version. And then a couple different highlighters here. And it is a behind the text highlighter, which I like a lot. And again, you can highlight anything you want. It doesn't matter. You can even highlight that particular thing. And then it brings whatever is on top of the highlight, so you can see it really well. So you get a couple highlights, and then you have an eraser tool, and the eraser tool is pretty much an entire stroke tool. So if you, it's just going to erase each stroke and not just like a little piece of it at a time. So if you just want to take like, let's say you just have a line here and you made the line too short and you want to just delete part of that, I can't really do that there. So got to keep that in mind. Okay, so and then the last tool here is, of course, the lasso tool. Probably one of the most important tools on any of these devices, because you can be able to grab whatever you want to and move it around. You can just grab one piece of it here like that, or you can just grab just a little chunk of it at a time if you want to. Whatever, it'll grab each like letter or stroke. And that's pretty much the only options you get for your lasso tool. Then here in your view tool, you have paper, so you can put some rule lines. So now you have some rule lines in your paper, which is nice. And then you can also go to grid lines, and you can also hide the lines if you want to get rid of them after you put them on. So if you leave the rule lines on, it's kind of nice. You get a little bit of an area to figure out where you want to write at. And then you have a page color, so you can actually change your page color to any one of these colors here. So if you wanted a slightly different page color, you can do that, no problem, or you can turn it back off if you just want white. And then zoom to 100%. Now, what does this mean specifically? Well, in OneNote, it really doesn't have pages, so there's not like a setup of 8.5 by 11 pages. It's like a giant canvas, right? So I mean, you can just keep going and going, and you can just write on it for days, and it just keeps going. And then it's kind of hard to see once you get to a certain point, so you want to get back to where you were, you can just hit that quickly, the zoom to 100% function. So that's pretty good. All right, so that's really basically the input part of this kind of thing here, is just these 4 tabs. It's pretty basic compared to some of the more in-depth note-taking apps, such as like Note Shelf, or I mean, if you have an iPad, like Notability or GoodNotes. But it works really good for what you need it to. And then if you actually use this in combination with your computer, it's super, super handy to have. And let's go up here to the top bar. So you have a search, of course. Search is amazing, and it does search your ink really well. And then you have an undo and a redo button if you need one of those. And then over here you have the share page, delete page, add to home screen, which is really handy on Android. You can just add this shortcut to the home screen, and then it'll put the name on there. Usually adds it back here. And if you click that, then you can go straight to your note, start writing. So if you have a note you use all the time, that's an excellent way to just get to that note just by putting it anywhere you want to. Then you have sync. So this says sync test, but it's actually the name of the notebook. So you can sync the notebook, and then you have settings, and then of course send feedback to Microsoft. But we're going to jump into these settings. There's not a lot of them. You have an account, so this is going to show your accounts, your Microsoft accounts that you want to log into. You have the sync on Wi-Fi only, so you don't want to use your data if you don't want to. Then you sync all page content, and this right here is all content from pages of an open notebook will be downloaded, which I always do because that includes all files that are attached and images. So usually if I want to access something on this device, I want the whole note. OneNote badge, that's turned on. And what the OneNote badge is let's see here, it's this guy right here. So this OneNote badge, it puts a little thing, and now you notice this guy popped up, and it's like your normal Facebook chat bubble, whatever the heck you want to call it. Yeah, what you can do is just pop that open, and then start writing your note right on there. It doesn't do text. It will do typing. I mean, it does text. It doesn't do handwriting. And then you can change the title of it if you want to, or you can just leave it as it is. If you're doing a fast one, you can even add a photograph or a scan or anything like that. And then you can just hit the Xbox and walk out, and it's going to send it to OneNote. And now you have that page in your OneNote, and it will show up in your unfiled notebook. So works really good. And then you can move them around however you want to. Ink mode on stylus hover, that's what gives you that where as soon as I hover the stylus, it goes into ink mode, which is really handy because you forget sometimes and you'll start writing. Then help and support, about, trust center, and theme. It does have a light, dark, or system default. If you change the theme, you will have to reboot the program, and then you get some really interesting black background kind of stuff here. It's kind of weird. So I always leave my notebooks in the light theme. I know some people really dig that kind of black, but I personally would, I personally always leave it in the light theme. That is all the settings. There is not a lot of settings, and it's really easy to use if you want to use a notebook, or use your Z Fold 3. Use it all for what you can, and if you don't want to use just a stock Samsung Note app, this is another good option. And I did a Note Shelf a video earlier, and I got a couple more of these particular writing apps that I'm going to do on here, because it's all about the iPad usually, is what you hear mostly about. And actually, it's not. I mean, Android has some really great stuff here too. Yeah, and you can move these around by just clicking and holding them. You can just select that there, and then you can move it. That's what that little button means. So if you want to move that page, let's say we're going to move it to test section 1, you select that. And if you noticed, I'm sorry I missed it, but there's a create a copy. So if you just want to copy that over, so if you have a template folder and you want to just continuously copy that over to something, you can do that really simply. And let's see, and then you can add again a note. So you can add a notebook, you can add let's see here, you can add a note to the home screen, and let's see if you can add a section to the home screen, which is handy. And then I believe you can also add a notebook. So you can add any one of these. So if you have a specific note you want to go to, you can just add that to your home screen. If you got create you a folder or something on your home screen with the 5 most used notes, and you can just drop them in there. It works out really good. These videos are a little long. I apologize for that. There's a lot of information in here. Again, OneNote is really good. I really like it. I've always liked it, and I would recommend using it if you don't mind having a Microsoft account. And again, if it's very powerful if you can combine this with a PC or a Mac or whatever kind of computer you're using. It's really good. Anyways, thanks again for staying through this whole video, and I really appreciate everybody watching, and I will see you on the next one.